Hello everyone, and today we are going to be completing 110% of All Hail the Orb. Yes, you heard me right, 110%. How is that possible, you might ask? Well, keep watching and you will find out. Anyway, this game is a very cute and short incremental about pondering an orb and building up a cult around said orb. It's very silly, and there are lots of ducks involved. The developer reached out and very kindly gave me a key, so thanks to the dev for that. And thank you for clicking on this video. If you consider liking and subscribing, that would really help me out and make the video do better in the algorithm. Alright, we've got a lot to cover, so we might as well get straight into it. Let's get pondering. The game opens with this nice animated menu screen and this really cool orb in the middle. And clicking the orb gets us our first achievement. Don't you think it's too early? Not many games give you achievements as early as the menu screen, so I already know this is going to be peak. We click the button to start a new game, and immediately we're pondering an orb. After tapping it a few times, we liberate this little dude from his spherical prison, and immediately violate his personal space. He tells us his master is still trapped in the orb, so it's up to us to save him. And with that, we're left to our own devices. Or orbs, I guess. We can currently only access this little temple area, but don't worry, it'll be expanding pretty soon. But there isn't much else to do right now, so I click the orb in the middle of the room and gain the achievement, "What does this thing do?" The question posed by this achievement is quickly answered by these purple little gems flying up into our hotbar. This is devotion and will be the primary currency we use in this game. We get a pop-up that informs us that we can upgrade our altar. In other words, spend devotion to get more devotion per click, which means more devotion overall, which means more upgrades, which means more devotion. You get the idea. We get a couple of upgrades and farm some devotion, and it's not long until we get the next achievement, just the early stages, devote more, for collecting 100 devotion. We collect a little more, and it now looks like we can open up one of these locked doors to the resource center, which the game calls a room full of resources, literally. Here we meet Bob Jr., a friendly duck and ruler of the Seven Guardian of the Resources. He's surprised to see us, though clearly quite glad. He informs us that we can buy upgrades here to increase our maximum stockpile of resources, which is quite handy. We ponder the orb for a little bit and get some more upgrades, one of which is Orb Experience Chance. This gives us a small chance for one of these little green balls to fly off the orb while pondering it. Collecting them contributes to our dungeon level meter at the bottom. Not sure what that unlocks yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll find out soon, in approximately 27 green balls time. A few minutes of farming later, and we're there. Our little rainbow friend pops up again and tells us that the dungeon's power grows and that every experience orb we collect feeds it, like a living creature. He plops down an ancient obelisk, not sure how he had that in his pockets, but sure, which will need to feed resources to free the master. We also get a box of goodies whenever we level up. This one gives us the devotion reservoirs, which passively accumulates liquid devotion for us. Speaking of goodies, the level up also allows us to unlock a new room, the summoning chamber. This room looks very cool, and the giant duck smeared in red paint really brings the place together. At least, I hope it's red paint. Our friend appears again and reminisces about summoning cultists using devotion, and then tells us we can do it too. We can't afford one just yet though, so it's time to ponder. After a bit more pondering, we actually hit our maximum capacity, which is 1000 devotion, and we also get the achievement, "You care this much already?" With our newfound wealth, we summon a generalist, who is an all-rounder cultist. The game does tell us that we'll want to change him later though. For summoning our cultist, whose name is Jamie, we also get your first devotee. Then we quite literally pick him up and drag him over to the orb so that he can start generating some passive devotion for us. Very nice. Also, being the kind and benevolent cult leader that I am, I drag Jamie over to a torch to warm him up a bit, giving us the trophy, Toasty Buns. It's time to start grinding devotion, and our cultists start asking questions about when he clocks out and whether this is a union job. Oh little cultist, there are no labour laws down here. Get back to worshipping. That being said, we don't want our cultists collapsing from exhaustion. Less efficient that way. So we buy another one. Robolob Dob Dob. Really, rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? While grinding, we also get the achievement In Orb We Trust for clicking the orb 1,000 times. A few upgrades later, it doesn't take us long to reach level 2. This time we get the choice of 3 rewards: more cultist capacity, more cultist devotion, or more devotion per click. This time we pick more cultists, because the more the merrier. Right guys? With this newfound capacity, we hire our 3rd generalist, Kronk. This is useful because it means we get more devotion even when a cultist is allowed on a break. Yes, we do allow them on breaks. And no, I couldn't figure out a way to avoid that law. Oh well. At this point, I remember the obelisk exists and fill it with some more devotion. Upon filling it, I'm told to tap the orb, and when I do, I have to really button mash it. This opens some kind of rift in space, and we're sucked into the blackness. We hear some indecipherable language, and we're plopped back into the temple, though we also gain a humble beginning. Our little friend points out the fact that the orb is now bigger, and yeah, I think he's right. He says the Master's presence is growing stronger, so we're definitely going in the right direction. Speaking of which, we can unlock a few more rooms now. The cheapest one, and the next one we open, is the Quack Pot, where fortune favours the foul. We meet another duck here, Quackles, who hasn't had a guest for give or take 1,000 years. For some devotion, we can get a little duckling, which will give us a nice bonus. We roll for a duck for 1,000 devotion, and we get, drumroll please, a duckonaut, which gives us 5% double devotion chance. We also get the achievement, First Quack. Anyway, back to running our cult. We've got enough for cultist number 4 now, which is good, because 2 of our lazy cultists have left one of them working all by themselves. Honestly, terrible. Unfortunately, due to legal requirements and workers' rights, we also have to provide a place for our cultists to rest up, so we invest 5,000 devotion in the cultists' quarters. In here is Stacy, who's jealous that the cultists get to walk around all day because she's eternally stuck at her desk. She allows us access to the cultist quarters upgrade menu, which lets us buy some nice cultist management upgrades. Now that we're up to scratch with whichever legal framework applies to cults, we hire a 5th cultist and earn the achievement, Create 5 cultists. With all 5 cultists, we're generating quite a bit of devotion, and, by extension, XP, so it's not long before we hit level 3. The upgrade chest gives us only one choice, a 50% bonus to devotion generated by cultists, which is more than welcome. We're getting devotion at a really nice rate now, but our cap is only 5,000, so we increase it to 100,000 for some more breathing room. After grinding a bit, we get cultist number 6 and also 10,000 devotion, the latter of which gives us, steady there, there's enough devotion to go around. The next room we can unlock is the Life Crystal, which is another workstation for our diligent little cultists. This works a little bit like the orb, except instead of generating devotion, the workers channel spin into the crystal. Once it has been spun enough, you gain some life essence, which is a new type of currency. As you can see, this system is quite a bit more complicated than tap on the orb to get money, but yeah. We assign a few cultists to spin the crystal, and pretty quickly get our first life essence and start upgrading the crystal with it. It doesn't take long to max out our life essence storage of 10, which gives us the achievement, Truly a Spectacle of Life here. After building up some devotion, we also buy our first cultist bed, which allows them to rest more effectively. But we need to buy a spell which makes them automatically go to bed, otherwise we have to drag them there manually. These little guys are so silly. Anyway, time to gamble. I've got enough to pull 4 more ducks, so I go and do exactly that. I get another duckonaut, and 3 Mr. Oranges, which are a common rarity duck. We also unlock Jeff the Ghost Duck for owning 5 ducks overall. He helps us by automatically collecting XP, which is very useful. Thanks, Jeff. We grind out resources for another 20 minutes and get the achievement, ooh, what do these pretty blue crystals do, for collecting 100 life essence. After this, it doesn't take long to complete Obelisk Stage 2, and after some light orb mashing, we're once again transported into the unknown, where we hear whispers of bread and blood. Upon returning, we get the achievement, Foundation of Faith. Getting to Obelisk 2 has now allowed us to unlock a few more rooms, one of which is the Master's Chamber. In here, we find a broken portal that we can't fix just yet, and the duck energy generator, which we can assign ducks to generate, you guessed it, duck energy. So we drag our most competent lieutenant, Mr. Orange, over to the machine, and he starts generating that precious duck energy. We also get the Hall of Accolades, which lets us claim trophy points for all the achievements we've got so far. These can be used to buy some pretty cool cosmetics, including banners, confetti cannons, and a hand shop to customize the cursor, a little guy that questions if he is a duck or not, and a really nice slow jazz theme. While we're playing around with these, we also pass the 100,000 devotion mark, which gives us the achievement, wow, you're really devoted to the orb. Cool. Since we've got so much, it's time for more gambling. We pull another 9 ducks and we get 8 Mr. Oranges and an Angelica, who is of epic rarity. Since we've got more than 10 ducks, we also unlock the duck management menu, which is handy for keeping all of my ducks in a row. Anyway, next we unlock the Mushroom Grotto, because, as the game points out, it sounds really funky. Here, our little friend appears again and tells us to talk to Fidor to make some money. Fidor, who is naturally a little mushroom man, will buy from us any mushrooms that we grow, apparently with an infinite supply of gold. Not sure where he's keeping that, but I do believe him. Since these mushrooms always spread through the adjacent space, we can kind of farm them infinitely. Wait for one to spread to another spot, then farm the original, rinse and repeat. We sell Fidor some of our mushrooms and he gives us 5 coins, which is suspiciously duck-like. For earning our first coin, we get the achievement, First Coin. I also remembered that there's another secret achievement I can unlock right now. We grab this poor unsuspecting Mr. Orange and drag him into the, purple liquid under the crystal for the achievement, Bath Time. He looks like he's enjoying himself at least. Back at the mushroom farm, we unlock some more plots for planting using the coins. Honestly, this mushroom farm is basically a little incremental all by itself, and there's something about it that I really enjoy. One of our mushrooms also spawns a yellow mushroom spore, which seems to be a new type of mushroom we haven't seen yet, so I deliberately leave it so it will spread more spores across the field. While we were off being amateur mycologists, our cultists were diligently doing their jobs, despite the fact that, as far as I can tell, I don't pay them anything. With all the built up resources, I get to 1000 life essence for the first time, which grants us the achievement, you must really love spinning that crystal. I've also just noticed that some of the rooms have this duck expansion pack upgrade, which apparently gets us more ducks to roll at the duck machine. More gambling? Yes please. We buy one of these for the cultist sleeping quarters, and it expands our repertoire of ducks, our duckatoire, if you will, by another 4 types of ducks. Hell yeah. Anyway, we've upgraded the orb itself an absolute ton at this point, so pondering it for even a little bit gets us a bucket load of XP. Enough XP, in fact, to reach dungeon level 5. But that's not as important as our mushroom farm. Look how big it is now. Anyway, back to running a cult. With our newfound duck coin wealth, we unlock the next room, the re-education chamber. In this room, there is a machine of some sort, and a duck wearing a helmet on top of a giant boxing glove machine. Seems very normal. We can send cultists here to change the class. For instance, you can change them to a life harvester who has 200% efficiency when assigned to the life crystal, but only 40% in other rooms. This is compared to a base of 100% everywhere for generalists. The boxing glove machine is an attitude adjuster, which lets us change the cultist's trait. As an experiment, we take Ren here and drag them to the attitude adjuster, and we're able to change them from sluggish, meaning they walk slowly, to greedy, meaning they generate devotion faster, but also get tired faster. We also drag our 5 orb ponderers into the identity crisis chamber and paint them purple so that they're better at pondering. Oh, so we're working with 40k orc logic here, aren't we? Anyway, the purple paint makes them ponder efficiently. Look at them go. And that's not the only new purple thing in town. We've also got purple mushrooms now, which seem to mutate from yellow mushrooms. Very cool. We also get some striped mushrooms, which grow in this weird diagonal pattern. Very cool. I've got a ton of devotion now, so it's time to roll for some more ducks, especially now that we got an expanded ducatoire. This time we get some duplicates as well as the new ducks, Snuggles, Cheeto, Fortune, Iron Duck, and some Mr. Yellows, who's of course Mr. Orange's cousin. Since we've got more than 20 ducks now, we also get the achievement Quack Factory. We've also unlocked Wilbert the Ghost Duck, who was betrayed in life and is redeeming himself by helping us collect life essence in death. A tragic tale, but a very cool duck. Speaking of which, we've been farming mushrooms so long that we've finally got enough duck coins to fix the broken portal. See, I was doing all that for a reason. The portal is really cool and finally gives us a use for all this duck energy we've been collecting. It's basically a duck skill tree to improve things like the odds of collecting a rare duck, being able to slot rarer ducks into the generator, and making duck gambling cheaper. Also, importantly, we unlock duck slots, which allows us to assign ducks to all of our other rooms for some nice bonuses. May the duck be with you. Back to some light mycology, and we've now got lumpy shrooms, which grow in a very weird pattern. Hopefully they'll figure out how to fill the garden though. After a bunch more farming, and many resources later, we finally have enough for obelisk level 3. Once again, in the gap between dimensions, we hear some echoes from a devourer of worlds who seems quite enthralled by a pond. Returning to our dimension, we get the achievement Testament of Power. For some reason, just before I was about to hit 1 million devotion, I decided it'd be a good idea to end my recording and start a new one, so I accidentally missed that achievement popping, so you're just gonna have to imagine it. Anyway, that achievement was Holy Devotion. That's a lot of devotion you've got there. Now we're at obelisk 3, and we can unlock the library, which is just off of the storage room. Here I buy a bookshelf and a bunch of books, and drag Snorple over here to see what it does. Looks like the books generate a new resource called Knowledge, and gaining our first bit gets us the achievement Bookworm. There's also this mysterious bookshelf on the library's top floor that we can't assign anyone to, but we can click some things on it. Clicking the things in a certain order light up all of the musical notes, and the bookshelf moves to reveal the long-held secret. Oh, come on. That little escapade gives us the achievement, What's Behind the Bookshelf. Now it's time for a massive grind. The devotion is flowing, the crystal is spinning, the books are being read, and oh boy, there's a lot of mushrooms. It doesn't take long to max out our knowledge at 5000 for Scholar. This also gives us enough to unlock the alchemy room, where we can assign cultists to research upgrades for other rooms. For instance, we assign our good friend Snorple to the Quack Pot, and they discover a trinket called the Lucky Feather. We can place this on a pedestal, and then start the Discovery Flask, which will give us a discovery for a valid combination of trinkets. Unfortunately, none of the discoveries require just a Lucky Feather, so we don't get anything this time. But still, this is a cool feature. Going back to the mushroom farm, we've got a few new mushroom types. Following the lumpy shroom, we got the Neapolitan shroom. I didn't realise they made Neapolitan ice cream out of mushrooms, but that's good to know. We've also got a couple of duck shrooms, which are very cute. Anyway, our absolute haul of Neapolitan shrooms gets us well over 100,000 coins, which is enough for the achievement, Money Bags. We're now mostly focusing on the duck mushrooms since they get us even more gold. I am but a humble duck farmer, and these are my wares. I sell 1,330 of them for a cool 1.7 million and get the achievement Golden Hoard for obtaining more than 1 million coins. Good old Snorple has finished all of the research for the Quackpot, so I've put him onto the Mushroom Grotto for some buffs there. This eventually allows them to discover the Spalling Dust Trinket, which in turn allows us to discover Grotto Auto Harvester, which does what it says on the tin, really. For this, we also get Eureka for making our first alchemy discovery. At some point while looking at this menu, we also get Sage for obtaining 50,000 research. I also remember that the Identity Crisis machine exists, so I paint 3 unsuspecting cultists green and assign them to the library. Green makes them good at reading, apparently. Meanwhile, our research into the arcane is progressing quite nicely. We discover a couple more trinkets, and one of them unlocks a new discovery, which is the Devotion Resonance Crystal. This has a chance to spawn a crystal whenever we ponder the orb, and if we click that crystal, then another one spawns, and we can continue this as a chain reaction. For clicking 10 in a row, we get the achievement Resonance Cascade. Thankfully, we don't have to fight off any aliens with a crowbar though. After a lot of reading, we obtain 200,000 total knowledge, giving us the Enlightened achievement. I also entirely missed the fact that I had leveled up to dungeon level 6, so I open the Ducky chest and get a bonus to life crystals per cycle. We've also got a fair bit of duck energy at this point, so I go back to the skill tree and unlock Merge Mastery, which allows us to merge ducks into higher rarity ducks. This won't result in any shambling duck homunculi, I really hope. As a proof of concept, I combined 3 Mr. Oranges into a Purwin, who I didn't have previously, which is excellent. We've got a ton of all the resources now, so I pour some of them into the obelisk, and we unlock obelisk level 4. In the gap between dimensions, the familiar voice assures us that they will be free soon, and that they will be terrible, though they aren't too sure about that last part. For leveling up the obelisk to level 4, we get the Orb Stirs, and also Omniscient, at the same time for collecting 400,000 knowledge. This is the penultimate stage of the obelisk, so there's no time to waste. We unlock a new room, the Chasm, which has a giant duck-shaped boulder in the middle. We speak to Thorin Giddlecub, who says he discovered it, and he utters the immortal words, "It's not just a boulder, it's a rock." Apparently, we can mine something called Duckinite ore from it too, which sounds pretty useful. Mining it is easy enough, we just need to click the rock. Obtaining our first Duckinite ore gets us the Shiny Rock achievement. We can also assign cultists to do this grueling thankless manual labour, so we do exactly that. It doesn't take long until we get Ore Collector and the Prospector achievements. We're also now at dungeon level 7, and we get a duck rarity chance boost from the chest. This is going to come in handy later. Doing some more research, we get a new discovery that gives us a 5% chance for the mushrooms to grow instantly every time we click the orb, and another one that gives us a 20% chance for cultists to recover instantly when they get into bed. Very nice. I was messing about with research for so long that I got more than 2,000 Duckinite, so I get the achievement Deep Miner, and it's not long before I get 4,000 for Master Excavator. Back to the research, we make a discovery that gives us some more upgrades at the cultist's upgrade station, one of which allows cultists to create XP 10% of the time. Back to the grind, and we've now unlocked Rainbow Mushrooms, which I believe are the last ones. Thanks to our cultist XP upgrade, we get to level 8 not long after, and we are given an upgrade to cultist study speed from the treasure chest. After selling an absolute boatload of rainbow mushrooms, we also get the achievement Dragon's Fortune for surpassing 25 million duck coins. And it doesn't take long to complete all of the alchemical discoveries for the Grand Opus. We also surpassed 10,000 life essence, gaining the achievement Any Faster and It Might Release from the Altar. We also get to dungeon level 9 and level up cultist mining speed for more efficient duckanite production. We sell an even bigger boatload of rainbow mushrooms and get King Midas for passing 75 million gold. We gamble for some more ducks and finally surpass 50 of them, getting the achievement Duck Dynasty. We also surpass 100,000 life essence for another achievement, and this one has the same name as the 100,000 devotion achievement, which I assume might be a bug. At this point, I spent absolutely ages merging ducks in an attempt to unlock some of the rarer ones that I hadn't gotten yet. You'll be pleased to hear that I'll be skipping over that, and you won't have to sit through a 20-minute duck merging montage. Anyway, we're now on the path to obelisk level 5, which is evidently the last little bit of the game. Our cult is now incredibly powerful. I mean, look at all this stuff flowing into our reserves. Our cultists love us, and we've got a thriving mushroom garden, and we even started a successful library. We're quite far into the video now, so I just wanted to say thank you for watching so far. You've really helped me out by watching this far, so comment All Hail Bob down below, because you're a real one. Either way, thank you so much, and let's finish off this video. We channel the last bit of necessary devotion into the orb, and for the last time, it's time to mash. Our little friend appears once more and tells us that it's finally time. They sacrifice themselves to shatter the orb, and millions upon millions of ducks are released from the remains. In the distance, a magnificent gold figure emerges, donned with sunglasses, a halo, and a sick chain. This is Bob, the almighty god of ducks, ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, and scourge of bath time. He turns to look at us with a gaze that pierces through even his cool shades, and issues a single, final command. Quack. Of course, O benevolent Bob, we must zap our cultists into duck oblivion. Their petty human form is weak, and they must become one with the duck. The end credits play as we zap all of our loyal cultists into their clearly superior ducky form. For getting to obelisk level 5, we got the achievement Final Devotion, and for beating the game, we got The End? But wait, there's still one achievement to go. Glorious Bob is now present on the menu screen, and if we click him, he berates us for coming back for more. He tells us our journey ends here, but kindly gives us the achievement, You Saved Bob, good job, in exchange for leading. But despite being bribed by benevolent Bob, we've still got work to do. I promised 110%, and this is it. We've still got to collect all of the different duck types and max out the duck energy skill tree, so we go back in to do exactly that. Please forgive us, almighty Bob. We spend ages rolling and combining ducks to get the last few epics and legendaries. This took quite a while, but honestly, it was a pretty fun process. And finally, maxing out the duck skill tree. At first, this looked like it would take an insane amount of time. You see, the duck generator, which generates duck electricity to use in the tree, generates energy slower based on how much you've got total. This means that saving for the later items would, in theory, take ages. However, there was a neat workaround I found for this. Closing and reopening the game meant that the energy went back to the default generation speed, meaning we were basically already done. Which was weird, but also quite nice, as I had anticipated this taking about an extra 4 hours of AFK time. But anyway, after 4.5 hours of playtime, I eventually maxed out the skill tree, and I obtained all ducks. Bob smiles down upon us. So, that was All Hail the Orb. I had a lot of fun building this cult, and I hope you had just as much fun watching this video. I highly recommend this game if you're into incrementals, and you got a free afternoon or evening to play through it. I'm going to put this high in the A tier of my 100% tier list, as it was well made and a well polished experience, and as I said, I highly recommend it. And also, I recently found out that it was the dev's first game. Thanks again to the developer, LeGingerDev, for the key. Anyway, in some kind of sad news, if you haven't seen the news already, Bungie are stopping support for Destiny 2 pretty much out of the blue. So I feel a bit of an obligation to finally get my Destiny 2 100% video out. It might take a while though, so I'm gonna spend like most of June working on it. I also made a joke about Bungie shutting it down in my Demon Souls video, and I kind of wish I hadn't, because I'm starting to feel like a bit of an oracle. I also made a joke about World War III in the original version of my script for the recursive video, and literally a few days later, the US did that. So I think I'm going to stop making prophetic jokes altogether, just to be on the safe side. Anyway, that's about all from me. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and please do consider subscribing if you enjoyed and want to see more, or at least leaving a like, as that will boost me in the algorithm a bunch. Hope you have a lovely day, and with that I will say, all hail the Orb.